All right. Good evening once again. Welcome to Digitech Zeal. And I'm very sure that if not all of us, we must have gone through the last video because this session is continuation of that section. So I expected us to have gone through that video, particularly those of us that we are having audio issue. People like Mrs. Wakuso, I think you were having issue of hearing me. And I want to believe you must have gone through that video. So basically, what we did last time was general introduction to Microsoft Excel. Here we talk about the definition of it as a powerful spreadsheet application for entering of data, organizing data, analyzing data, and presenting data in a tabular form or formats. Then after that, we look at how do we access it on our system. Then we talk about various methods that can be used to load Excel once it has been installed in your computer. I highlighted, I think about two options. One is using the graphical user interface, while the other one is going through the normal application assessment method. That is the one you have to click on the start. And then after that, we spend some time to understand Microsoft Excel environments. And I also told us why that session is important, because it gives us some confidence even on what we are going to do onward. All right, so that session, I took my time to explain the various parts that makes up Excel environment, starting from the title bar, standard toolbar, the worksheets. I also differentiated worksheet from workbook, right? And we also discuss some of the worksheets elements or properties where we identify the alphabetical label to be column, which are also the vertical spaces, where we also identify the horizontal label, which is the numerical label, as the rows. They are used for capturing records. Right? We talk about the active cell, where the ticker box within the Excel sheet. All right. So tonight we are going to focus on one of the most important aspects of learning Excel, which is the ability to use Excel to create data. If we are saying that Excel is an office application software which is used primarily for record management, right? Then we should know how to compute simple record. If I am employed tomorrow as a data entry personnel, someone whose duty is to impute value into the worksheets, how do I go about it? So this is the aspect we want to focus on in tonight's section. So I want to be very sure that after tonight's session, it's possible that we will just have one more class and then we are done with the basic of Excel, and then we move to PowerPoint. Remember, I told us that we are not going to teach us Excel to advanced aspect, because the advanced aspect of Excel is used for data analysis. And that is one of the reasons why we have created a new data analysis session that is going to start next tomorrow. I think I asked most of them that have registered in that session to also join this session to understand the basics of Excel. And like I told us, the training model is for us to use Excel for general purpose, right? So there's nothing special about this aspect of Excel we are learning. This is an aspect that every one of us, so long you work in an office, you are expected to understand, right? Which is part of the office application you need to understand. Okay, so what is data collection? So tonight we are looking at data collection. For those that want to write, data collection. And we are going to also look at data formatting. So it's just like 3 topics in one, data formatting. And then we'll also talk about data query. All right, so let's see if we are not able to get to the data query aspects, which means that will span into the next session. All right, so now let's dive in. What is data collection? So data collection is the process of imputing values or inputs into the Excel worksheet. Remember that in our last class, I have explained to us what a worksheet is. In fact, I said the whole of this space is referred to as the Excel electronic worksheets, right? So the worksheet allows us to impute value into the Excel and also work on those values, improve the appearance of those values. And that is why I said we are going to look at data formatting. And then perhaps it requires some calculation that we should be able to know how to construct query formula within the same worksheet to perform certain calculations for us. All right, so that is data collection, the process of imputing value or information into the Excel worksheet. Is a skill set that we must understand. These are the personnel that work with data analysts. The way it works is that the role of a data analyst is not to create, it's not to engineer data. The role of a data analyst is to be given data to draw insights that can help in decision making, right? So which means that there is an office that will put the data together for such a data analyst. And that office is what we are learning, right? So there are individuals in technology which are called data entry personnel. Their work is just to compute value into different platform for the consumer or whoever is going to use the data. All right, so it's a skill that we must have, how to collect data in Excel. All right, so in the process of collecting the data, how do you fine-tune the presentation? How do you organize the data? How do you make them look presentable, readable? That is where formatting comes in. So you cannot actually learn data collection without also acquiring data formatting skills, because they go together. All right. So now that we understand data collection, let's quickly look at some basic principles that are expected to guide us whenever we are collecting data. Basic principles that are expected to guide us when collecting data. Number one principle is that you must understand the problem the data is going to solve. This I want you to be writing because of the time I'm trying to, maximize. I don't want to write too much. Just make sure you are making your notes. The basic principles that should guide you when collecting data. Number one, understand the problem or the challenge that particular data you want to collect will address. That will give you a kind of an accurate guideline on how you are to create the data field. And once you are able to create the data field, then you also be able to know the record to generate across the field. So it starts from understanding what problem is this data system going to address. For example, if you are called maybe after this class and you start addressing yourself as a data, probably what, engineer, right? So before you bear that name, it's a very big name. It go beyond just collection. It also involves, programming and some other. But you are qualified to say that you are a data what engineer to an extent because you formulate systems that helps organization to what to collect information. All right. So what I'm saying is that the principle of data collection is that you must understand the problem that data is meant to solve or problem is going to solve. Let me just pick one of those areas that I pointed out in our last session. Remember, I told you that Excel can be applied in government, can be applied in business, can be applied in school, in education. Now, for example, if it were to be a school and I am asked to create a data system to help them solve the problem of tracking the name of the students that have registered so far. That is register. So you can see, I have known the problem. The problem is that they need a data structure or a data system that can help them to know accurately how many students they have registered. So that if anybody asks them that, how many students do you have in your school? They'll be able to what? To say it what? Precisely. So I now understand the problem the data is going to address. Now, once you have that understanding, then that is what will guide me to know whether I'm to write serial number, student's name, or whether the first name, middle name, the class, the reg number, the school fees paid, and all of that, because I understand the words, the purpose, the problem that data is going to solve. Let's go to business. If someone that owns a supermarket consults me as a data engineer or data entry personnel, that please, I want you to develop the data system that can help us to track our sales, our daily sales. I've already know the problem. The problem is that they want to know, one, how many products sold per day. They want to know, two, the date of transaction. Three, they want to know which customer purchased each of those products. They want to know the gender, the customer gender, whether the customer is a female or male. So you can see, just knowing the problem they want to solve, I am able to create what? The field names. That is why I said is rule number one. Because there is no way an individual can actually teach you the logic on how to develop all the data system in the world, because different business with different problems, different what operations. But what I'm giving you now is that if you understand this rule, once you get to that company and you understand what they are into, and you are able to know what they want to solve with the problem, the data, then you quickly know what the headings to create. So it's just for you to follow the principle. I believe we are learning something. Can I get a response from at least one person just to know if I'm making sense?
Yes.
All right. So with that is rule number one. So once you understand that, the second step is that you create, I hope you are writing your step because I'm going to start implementing them very soon. The second step is for you to create what we call the database meta. The database meta. The meta is M-E-T-A, meta. That means what? A data description. So you must give us a kind of a description of what that system is all about. For example, if I'm developing it for a supermarket, so my data description is going to be sales or daily sales inventory data set, daily sales reports, inventory, or whichever way. So you must give it a name that describes that, a capture that when somebody says it, you know, oh, this is what this data system is all about. This is the problem it's solving. We must get that right. So I think I'm going to combine them with the practical so that we can make good use of our time. So I believe you have taken the topic. So everything I'm going to teach us today will cut across those three topics. All right. So now that we want to collect, we want to create valid information, we need to set up the worksheets. So what is the worksheet setup? Just like the way we learned it in Word. It's simply the process of adjusting the necessary part of the worksheet in preparation for the data you want to collect. And what does that involve? It means at this point, I need to save my workbook with a descriptional word name. So I will come to File and then select what Save As. I'll simply choose where I want to store it. So let me store it on desktop, and then I will name it according to what I want to build. So this is what I can say is what do I want to build? I can say simple sales reports or inventory. So I save it, right? Then after that, the next thing is for me to set the worksheet up under what? This particular name. So I'll go to page layout and then choose my margin to be normal. I want to go with normal. My orientation, because the sales inventory, the way I actually want to create it is that it's actually a project that I want us to follow very well. I want to create in a way that it will spread across different sheets, because there are some calculations we are going to do probably in the next class, so that if you are asked to do something of that nature. So this is a real project that can help an organization to solve problems. So I don't want to just take it casually, all right? So because I would like it to spread across, now when I am considering the numbers of headers or field names, if they are going to be much, then I'm going to use what? Landscape. But if the field names, the headers are going to be few, then I can use what? Portraits. All right, so I believe you now know why I'm choosing my orientation to either be what? Portrait or landscape. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is to, first of all, name the sheet one. So that sheet one, I will just give it a name. Remember in our last class, I told us that for you to rename your sheet, you either right click on it and select what? Rename, or you simply double click on it. So let me go with the right clicking option. And then I will name it sales data. So the first sheet is sales data. Now I have another sheet based on the project. By the time we are done with the project, you understand what is going on. So I'll click on the plus here, right click again. I'll name another sheet. So I'll name this sheet sales summary. I'll name it what? Sales summary. Then after this, I'll create another sheet. I'll create another sheet. Okay, let's say we are going with just these two sheets first for now. And when we get to the point where we want to create other sheets, we'll know what to do. That is if the training permits us to to do that, but let's still go ahead. Now, let me go to the reason why I created these two sheets, because the information in these two sheets, they are related, right? So there are vital information that we are going to draw from here into what this particular sheet that will help us to make some decisions, right? So now let me work on what I need to have in my sales data. So this is where I'm going to create the raw data. Now, what are like I said, you start by creating the meta. So the meta, I'm going to use design test, which is called Word test. We did a bit of it in Word, right? I want the name of the company to look design. So I'll go to insert. So from insert, I'll go to this section, the test, and then I'll click on Word art. Remember, we talked about Word art. Even in Word, told us that 50% of what we have in Word, they are here. So I'll say, okay, I want to use a particular template to write. So what do I want to write? The name of the organization that I am building this data system for. So when I'm done, I'm going to hand it over to them and they collect my money. So they will now be using it as long as possible. So now I will say the name of the company is Digitech Zeal Hub. Now, remember I talked about three topics, three sets of skills we are learning in this class. Data entry skills, data formatting skill, and data query skill. Data entry skill is what you just learned now, how I'm able to type this. You saw where I go to, right? Now, I want to improve the appearance. I want to make it look good. So I'll click on it. And then what am I doing now? I have started formatting, right? Now, I'll come here and say, okay, from my home, I want to bold it in the first place. From the same home tab, I want to color it. Maybe the company have their colors. So you need to ask them for their favorite color. So whatever you are creating for them goes with your color. Now, I want to resize it. You can see where I'm clicking. These are some of the things I've taught you in Word, right? That's why I'm not taking my time to break them down. Then this is the width of this sheet, the page, from this broken line to this. So I will try as much as possible to position it at the middle. So you just do your eyes gauging, space here and the space here. Make sure that, just to ensure that it's positioned at the middle. So let me still reduce it. So I'm done with that. I'll press Ctrl S. I am updating my entry. The next thing is that if this company, the next thing is for me to outline what type of data is this. So I'll go back again to insert, go to test group, then select what word art. I'll pick this again, and then I'll say what this is monthly sales inventory. So I'll say monthly sales inventory, or you can say reports. Let me use report. That is a more general term. Now, there is something I want to teach us. You see, the appearance that I've given to this one, I want to grab it and pour it on this so that I don't go through the process again. So what I'm going to do, I will just click on this one that I have designed, go back to my home, and then I'll select format painter, which means that what the format on this test, drop them on this test. So I'll click on it, and then I'll simply go and touch the test. You can see how I automatically, because I don't want to start going to bold again, going to color again, in as much I need the same appearance. The only thing I'm going to do is to make this smaller than what this, just to create that hierarchy, that this is the principal, this is the sub item. So I'll click on it and reduce the font size, and then I can as well use another color to differentiate it, but you must have your color scheme. Maybe everything I want to do is either blue color or red. Stay with what? One color or two color. That is the best way of designing user-friendly interface. So I've done that. You press Ctrl S. So the next thing is for me to define the month. So this is the monthly sales report. Sorry. So since it's the monthly sales report, it's better I just outline the month here. So I will just say August. August sales reports. Now, another thing again is that you need to define the address because the company can have branches and all of them will forward their report to one MD. So how will the MD separate them? So there is need for us to put address here. So that particular address, I can decide not to use graphics text. I can use normal cursor text, which could be, I can just find my way in here. Or let me use the graphic text so that everything will look proper. So, and that will give us more avenue to understand it. So the address, I can say this is for Asaba branch. So this is for Asaba branch. So the same thing, I will just, to save my time, I'll click on this text that are formatted, go back to home, select format painter, and then just touch it. And then I can just add it here. All this is just to save my time. You can actually go through the formatting again. Now, once you have done this, you can decide to say you want to blind all the grid lines within this session where you have that particular record. Because if you go to print now, let's say you want to check how it's going to come out. So go to File, you click on Print. So that will give you a view. So you can see that it's not actually at the center of the page. So you can see, if not that we previewed it, we wouldn't have known that it's not at the center. So now let me try and see if I can gain it. So what I'm going to do from here, I'll go to page setup. From page setup, what I want to set is what? Is the margin. All right. So once I get to the margin, what I'm going to do, I'll say center on the page. Can you see this option here? Center on the page horizontally. So if I click OK, let me see. So this is the center of the page, just like the way we are. So when you print on your paper, this will definitely be what? The center of the page. So I think I've achieved that. So I can now close this and then close this, or just click here and go back. So with this, you are sure that your work is at the center of the page. The company can ask you to add their logo. All right, they can ask you to add their logo. So the logos will have been given to you in soft copy. So if you have it, you have it in the system. You go to Insert, and then you go to Illustration. From there, you go to Picture. Then from Picture, I will just pick any picture. Let me just go to Picture and just find a picture to use as a logo. So let's say this is the logo. I will just click. You can see that the logo appears too big. So how do I resize it? How do I resize it? You can see this particular section here. So currently the size of this picture is 8.5 by 8.5. So all I need to do, if I want to reduce it, I will just click here. I'll just say reduce it to 3, then to what? 3. All right, so that is one way you can reduce it, or manually, you click on this edge and drag it in, or you drag it out. All right, so just in case you are asked to add your logo. Now, if they want to make the logo a round shape, you come here and then you choose any of these. You can choose this, and then you can come to border, picture border, to reduce the thickness of that line. So let's say we are adding it here. You want to add some effects, you can come here. So, okay, maybe you want to add some shadow effect to it. So those ones are just for designing it. So I'm done with this session. So this is what I describe as the meta information.
Why? Because the whole of this is describing the data we are about to create. So you should not start with the data itself. Always have the first part describing the data system. It's very important when it comes to data system development. So now that we are done with that, now we will now go to the field name creation. Now, the field name, for you to generate this field name, you have to be looking at different challenges you want to provide solution for. Remember what they told you. They want to be tracking their sales, right? So you will now look for field name because each of those field name, they are answering what? Questions. Questions that you will have stand in front of your boss. And then when he's asking, you'll be answering. So the field names have taken care of them. All right. So you come down to somewhere here, leave some space, and then I'll start with the first one as serial number. You know why I want to start my numbering? Because I can no longer depend on this Excel numbering. And outside that, you notice that when we check how it's going to come out, you notice that what? The numbers disappear and the alphabet disappears. So never rely on them. All right. Though you can activate them if you want them to show. Now here, the next one is dates. So the next one is, let's say what? Invoice number. Now, while you are entry, if you discover that your entry has exceeded the column width, just trace that line up and double click. It will automatically what? Adjust it for you. Or you can trace the line and then hold down the left button and adjust it manually. But I prefer using the automatically what, or the automatic method. As you are entering your work, make sure you are saving. So the next one is products. Products. So this is where I'm going to. So I'll also trace it up and what? Double click. So the next one is category. So which means that the products have different category. So I'll trace the line also, double click. The next one is quantity. Quantity. So all these I'm generating them because of what? The solution I want to provide. All right, so this will help them to know the total number of transactions. This will help them to know the date of transaction. This will help them to know the invoice what? Unique number. Why this will track the product sold. Why this will capture the category of that product. And this will capture what? How many of them were sold. So you can see the way each of the heading or the field names are actually what? Addressing what? Some challenges. All right, so the next one is unit price. So this one is going to give them an idea of how much an item is sold or will be sold. In fact, this not will be sold. How much an item is sold, because this is sales inventory. The record here is the record of outgoing products, not incoming products. So if you are creating for incoming products, that is going to be what? That's going to be inventory to purchase. So now the next one is total sales. Total sales. Then I will also correct the width. The next one is payment method. So I would like to know the method of payment by each of these customers. So that at the end of the day, I will know which method is working better. So the next one is sales rep, who sold the item to the customer, says what? Person. So these are the headers. All right. Now let me format the headers before I start creating record. Now, like I was saying the other time, you can see that once you are able to draft the field name, the record generation will be very simple, because having serial number that that has already informed me that, oh, I'm to write number 1, number 2 here. Having date, that has already, oh, I'm to write date here. So that is why the most challenging aspect of data development, data system development, is the ability to what? To create the field name. Once you are able to overcome that stage, then the record creation is very simple. But let me make this unique. So what I'm going to do is that I will highlight the whole of this section. How am I highlighting it? I click on the first one, hold down the left button of your mouse, then keep dragging until all the required headings are selected. So I'll come towards Home tab. What am I doing now? I am formatting, right? I'll come here, then I will use a color that is not off from the metadata color. So I can use red as background color because that will still balance that, or I can use something like this. That's the family of black, which is what default color. Then I can decide to say, okay, I want to make them bolder, so I will highlight them again and come here and bold it. So I will check again how it's going to be printed out to know whether the presentation is good. So you check it, you say, fine, everything is good. Now you go back again, and then you start creating your record. Now, the first record, the way you create your record, is create your record column by column. That is the best way of what? Creating your record. Now, I want to start my numbering because I'm no longer depending on this Excel number. So I'm going to start by giving Excel an example that will start from number 1. So I don't have to manually be typing number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. So what I'm going to do is just to give Excel a sample that, okay, start from 1. Now, once you have typed that 1, you change the alignment to the alignment of the header. Look at where it is. Look at the header. So what you are going to do is that you highlight the area you intend to use, and then you go to Home tab. Then you come to this alignment section. You click here so that all the numbers will align with the header that is describing them. So now that I've gotten that, I'll click on that first number 1, then go to this dotted edge. Once it's changed to that small plus, then hold down the left button on your mouse and then keep dragging, and that will repeat that same number. But what I want is number 1, number 2. So you go to that dotted edge, the dotted edge there, click on the icon beside it. Once you click on it, you will see this option, select field series, and that will automatically what? Align the numbering. All right. So let's assume that after you have gotten this number, you now discover that your record will actually exceed 12. So how do you now update? You don't need to start with that number 1. Just use the last number. Click on the last number, then go back to that dotted edge, hold down the left button and drag. And then when it brings out the same 12, then click on the icon beside it and then select what? Field series. So that is how you can always what? Update. I hope we are learning. Let me get a response from one person at least. Are we learning?
Yeah. We are following, sir.
Okay. So now I'm done with this. Now let me go to this column. This column is dates. This is where I want to track the date of the transaction. Now, if you are working in an organization, everything I'm doing here, I am assuming. If you are working in an organization, you are supposed to pick the invoice booklets or the receipt booklet and be opening it one after the other and be extracting all this information from there. For example, you open the first booklet, the first page, you see the date of transaction, you take that date and input it here. You don't assume it. But I'm only assuming because I'm just teaching us, right? So I will just assume some date here. Let's say when you are entering your date, please learn to follow the global format. The global format is that you type the year first. Let's say what? 2026. Then followed by, or you can write it this way, followed by the month. I think we used to have the format YYY, MMM, then day. So I can say month, let's say 02, and then the day, I can say 28. So I can follow this format. Now, just to save my time, like I said, if this is a real application of, if you are collecting this for a real company, so make sure that what you input the date according to the way they were entered in the work in the invoice note. So now here I will just what drag it just to fill it up, just to save my time. Then I am updating my work by pressing Ctrl S. Then the invoice number. So you must have a unique way of what labeling your invoice. So I will say what? Let's say INV 001. So I'm giving Excel what? The format. So I will just give one more example. I will say what? IV. I will just change here to 2. So once you have given Excel the first 2 examples, highlight those 2, and then double click here. Excel knows what to do to follow that format for the rest. You don't need to stress yourself. Just give the first 2 examples, that 1 and 2. So once you highlight them, let me take it again. Once you have given the first 2 examples manually, just select both of them and then double click on what? This dot. It will replicate it and stop exactly where the last record stopped. You just double click it and then Excel will follow that same format. Now let's go to products. Let's list out some products. So here, let's say I have laptop and the brand is HP. Laptop HP. Let me expand it. So the next one is maybe wireless mouse. So let me expand it. The next one is keyboard. The next one, let's say monitor. And I want to specify the inches. Let's say 24 inches. The next one is USB flash drive. USB flash drive. Then the next one is USSD 512 gigabytes. The next one is printer. So the next one is laptop bag. The next one is, let's say, router. So with this product, you have already know the kind of business I'm into. The next one is network cable. Network cables. All right, so now let me go to, so let's say I'm working with this. So I have all these as SS, wipe them off. So the next one is category of this product. This one falls under computer. This falls under accessories. This one falls under accessories. So since the next one is accessory, I will just click on it like this and drag it. I don't have to waste my time. So the next one is computer. Once I type the first 2 letters, I press enter, it will call it out because I've created it before. This one falls under storage. I've not typed storage before, so I have to write it. So this one falls under storage. I'll just type the first letter, press enter. The next one falls under office. I've not typed before, office equipment. The next one falls under accessory. I'll just type A, press enter. The next one falls under networking. Networking. I think that is all. So I'll go to quantity. Quantity, let's say 2, 5, 3. So you can just put your quantity as you like. Network card, this one under networking. The unit price, how much is one? Let's say 450,000. Let's say 12,000. Let's say 15,000. Let's say 180,000. Just assuming. Let's say 8,000. Let's say 100. Let's say 65,000. 22,000. 25,000. 45,000. So let me just say 50,000. Now, here we are going to use formula. So this is the query now, because here is not direct entry. So what we know as query formula, or in Excel or in any database management system, once the word query is used, it means taxing the program to do something for you. So here we simply imputed all these ourselves because they do not require calculation. Once you need a calculation, you must either write your function or you consult the inbuilt function. So in this case, there is no inbuilt function that can solve this problem for me. That is why I want to construct it. And to construct it, I must understand the word, the communication. What is total says? This is two quantity of, that is two computer, and one is going to cost the customer what? This amount. Now the total is going to be multiplying this by this. So you simply start with equals to. Is a rule in Excel. Whenever you want to enter formula, you must start with what? Equal sign. Then I talk about argument the other time. So I will call the value here, multiply it with the value here. So how do I reference that? I'll tap it and then enter. Just press Shift and 8. That will give you computer times. This asterisk is computer times, not the other one, you know. And then you are saying that the value inside this cell, multiply it by the value inside this cell. So what is the argument? The arguments are F9, that is where you have to multiply F9 value by what? G9 value. So if I press enter, Excel have calculated it. Now the good thing is that I don't have to repeat the same formula here. I don't have to come here and say equals to, and then take this, and then insert my operator, which is the time sign, and then click here and press it. I don't have to do that. Even if the record is up to 1 million, it's just the first one that I need to what? Calculate. Then I'll click on that first one. Then I will do what we call autofill. Autofill, which means that the formula that we have constructed here, copy it and place it here. Let it look for its corresponding value here and multiply it. So you just double click here, Excel word, we perform the calculation according to the value, the corresponding value. I hope somebody understand that. Let me hear from anybody. Is that clear? And I hope we are
Yes,
still,
sir.
hope we are still learning. Okay. Now,
Yes, sir.
okay. Now, payment category. Under payment category, I have is either my customer pay with cash or they pay with through transfer. So cash, POS, cash, POS, transfer. cash, POS. So which means I have just three words, payment category. The salesperson will just type the name of these employees. These are people that are working in that company. Let's say what? Roots, Bala, Musa, Peter, Okeke, John. So we can actually repeat this name. We can repeat them. Maybe you might have just three staffs. So you can just walk around those three staffs. All right, so let's say Musa, David. All right, so I'm done with this sheet assignment. I am done with this sheet assignment. So now, if you go back to your preview, let's check. Let's see how the work is going to come out. Fine. All right. So now, let's assume that I want this session to be formatted as table. Remember the table we learned. I want the grid line to be given to only this session. I don't want it to affect this. Because sometimes when you go for an interview, they will tell you, okay, how do you convert a cell entry to table? That can be an interview question. So all you need to do is just this. You just highlight everything, only that area. And then you go to home. And then when you get to home, you come to this section where you have formats, right? Now, sorry, when you get to home, just come to this section under font where you can see this icon. So click on the drop down there, then select all borders. You can see that automatically you have added the line. So if I go back to print preview now, you will see that what you have the lines only formatting the area or the body section of your entry. So these are some things you can be asked to do. So with this, we have been able to what? To learn how to what? To enter data and how to what? To format data. Any question first before we go to the second sheet? And the second sheet will form probably the last part of this session. Any question? So there's no question. I'll give us 5 to 6 minutes for those that are joining with their laptop.
Question, sir.
Okay.
Good. Question, sir.
Go ahead.
The question I want to find out is that, you are using the full spreadsheet. For example, now, how do I know where I'm going to demarcate I'm going to stop? Maybe that line that is there, how do you get that line? That line that demarcates from there you stop.
The moment you save your worksheets, that line will automatically comes up. Let me show you. I open another Excel. Let me open another Excel. Now you can see that the line is not there now, right? Now there are two things you will do that will bring out the line. The moment you set up, you come to page layout and choose any of these, the line will come out. You can see the line now. That is one. Or you save. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, sir.
Any other question?
So, for example,
Yes,
you're
sir.
passing that line.
Go ahead, Wiz.
So, as if, for example, if you are going to extend more than that line, that comes out. So, what will happen?
Sorry, come again. Sorry.
I say, for example, if you are going to extend more than that line, what you are typing is going to more than that line.
Okay. Now let me use what we have typed, because what we have typed, you can see that this particular one has what exceeded that line, which means that if you go to your print preview now, the whole of this will have gone to the next page. Let's go and try it and show you how to solve it faster from your print preview. You can see that you are not seeing that column here, but it's in the next page. So you can see it's showing 2 pages. So if I click here, you will see only that one in the second page. So how do you resolve it? Since it's just 1 page, there's no point of you wasting your paper. Now, this is what you do. You go back to that page setting, right? You are talking about margin. You come here, then what you will do here is to resize the left and the right margin. The left and the right margin. That is the one that is in charge of the challenge you are facing. So currently, the space I have here is 0.7. So I will reduce it to what? I will reduce it to 0.45. I'll maintain the same thing here. And then by the time I click OK, you see that what? I think it has entered. No, it has not entered. It has not entered. So let's go back. Let's go back. So what I'm going to do to solve it is, what did I do before? Was it margin? Was it margin? Margin. Okay.
Yes.
So let me see how I reduce this, and that did not solve it. Let me see, reduce it to the lowest and see if that will solve it. That has solved it. You see it now? That has solved it. So at times, it could be 2 columns that span into the next sheet. So doing what I do now, what I did now, will not solve it. So why this one work easily? Because it's just 1. So even is more than that, what you will have done, you first of all come here and reduce the width of some columns. Like here now, this space is too much. So you come here, reduce this one here like this. Then there's another one I can reduce. Here, I can change the what to QTY instead of writing it in full, so that I can have some space. All right. And then the alignment, I think the alignment, I will change it to this, so that we'll have more space. So with this, if it doesn't enter, then you will not think of reducing, the size. So if you are using like 16, you can now reduce it to maybe something like this. But make sure that whichever way you are reducing it, it should not go below what? 10. You should know that from Microsoft Word class. All right. Otherwise, your work will just be for the younger people. The older people will not be able to see it very well. So if we go back now, I believe that challenge will have been solved. I hope I've answered your question. More questions, more questions.
Yes, sir. Okay. So that calculation you did for the formula, say press control times before and after the equals to. So
which calculation are you referring to, sir? Please come again. Can you come again with the calculation you are referring to?
And like for the when you are doing the calculation of the quantity and the unit price, you use the equals sign, then you now press the times.
Yes.
Sign.
When we are calculating total price, for example, now I want to multiply this and put it here. Let me put it here. So I type equals to, and then I click on where I have the quantity value, and then I inserted times, shift and 8. We give you that asterisk. That is computer word, thanks. And then I pick what? This. Where you have the unit price, then I press enter. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are going for 10 minutes break to allow some of you that are working to get to where I am. When I come back, we look at what we need to compute in our second sheet, and that will bring us to the end of this session. Okay? So the break starts now, and by the time we come back, I expect that Some of us will have done something. If you are doing it with your laptop, I will ask you to share your screen.
I want to get those of us that are submitting assignment. There's one particular person, can't really know the person's name direct. The person is very up and doing. We do the assignment, all the one we did for letter writing, sending the picture. That is very, very encouraging. So some of us, I know you are doing it. Once you are done with it, just screenshot and post it in the group. All right. And please, the video you are watching, each time you go to our YouTube page, you watch a video, just share it or you like it. It's very important to us. All right, so that others can also access this training. Okay, so at this point, I will say good night, everyone. So just make sure the assignment is for you to enter data to where we stop. So create a simple sales inventory like this. All right. So see you on Tuesday.
Okay, sir.
Right. Night.